also, I think they need to have an account in Zoom. So if I don't have an account, just click on the client. I don't know if they that
Yeah.
can change it to, and keep the change.
Yeah, you don't need a host account, but you can have a profile without having
Oh,
a host.
okay.
But that could be it. Here's some scans.
Hey there, Gail, you're muted. Good to see you.
Our guest speaker, but no Dan yet. There's Dan?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. Wow, you've arrived.
Yay!
Welcome, Jordan. Thank you
Wrap
so
up what
much.
we
And I'm so sorry about the technical issue about getting you in.
Not to worry. This
Okay,
is
cool.
the world we live in now.
Yes, it is. So, and it looks like, if it's okay, it looks like we are recording.
Are applicable in a modern setting, you know, given our modern pace of life, whatever our contemporary struggles are, our stresses, because I'm a modern contemporary person living in this life, and I am really curious how there's practical value and benefit to utilizing those understandings and techniques. And so it's exactly right on what you were saying. Is I had the same thought. How can I apply those in my life? As far as myself, my background, just a little bit. I have my master's degree is from a university in Colorado called Naropa University, which brings together Eastern philosophical and meditative traditions and Western academic traditions. So I did both my bachelor's degree and my master's degree there. And my master's degree is in what's called Indo-Tibetan studies, which, to put it in more general terms, is the study of Tibetan and Indian philosophical traditions. And my emphasis was specializing in languages. So I studied the Tibetan language and the Sanskrit language. And this followed about a decade of being a translator and interpreter for teachers from Tibet, Buddhist teachers who would give talks about the philosophy and the practices of their tradition, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So it's been a little more than 2 decades now that I've been immersed in meditation, as well as just having my own personal meditation practice. But what I've noticed in those years is that meditation has come out of the world of kind of being a fringe, maybe sort of esoteric custom, to being very much incorporated into the mainstream. And you can see that reflected, say, many top universities and colleges that say have a medical program, have incorporated some kind of meditation or mindfulness into their studies. And over the last, say, 3 to 4 decades, the number of well-designed, thorough, peer-reviewed journals that have published studies about meditation has grown dramatically, to the point where there are thousands published every year that seem to indicate that scientifically we can see a value to certain kinds of basic practices that would fall under the category of meditation or mindfulness. For me, I'm happy about the data, but what is more convincing to me is just to try it out and see if it works. Because if it works, all the data in the world won't matter. And so for me, again, also one of my main curiosities is what are some basic and practical techniques that we can learn that are very simple, that we can apply in times of stress, particularly because, you know, stress is kind of like this rampant, you know, situation that we face, all of us, on a spectrum, from the little things, you know, you didn't expect that there was going to be a road construction and you're on your way somewhere, to having a global pandemic come out of nowhere and suddenly having to change your whole life dramatically, But all of these different circumstances can produce some kind of stress or anxiety. And then there are also, those might be considered outer stresses, but then also there are inner stresses too. And I think it's fair to say that all of us face these. And maybe we encounter some emotions that are difficult to face that we didn't know we were going to face. Or we have habits or beliefs or patterns about ourselves that we struggle with. I think it's fair to say that this is universal too. So on two levels, stress comes from the outside and sometimes it comes from the inside. And my question kind of as a curiosity is, how will the techniques of meditation apply to that and be helpful for that? And it's been what I've used throughout my life and have found them to be effective. So when Gail invited me, I thought, well, yeah, let's try these out for people who have varying backgrounds, maybe no background with meditation. But again, with that question, can these be applied sort of as a curiosity to whatever everyone here as students, maybe career people, whatever stresses you face, can these approaches be applied? And so what I thought we'd do is we'll just try out some simple meditations. It'll be guided. So all you really have to do is just listen along and follow along with what I say and what I describe. And it'll be very simple techniques, just with breathing and body awareness and a little bit of visualization, which are common techniques utilized in most like mindfulness type of meditations for reducing stress. So just Gail, how long do you think we should go? It's 10:40 now. I have a class coming up at 11. So we could do like, how long do you think? Oops, will you go ahead and unmute yourself too?
Sorry. So can you stay with us till 11? Or
Sure.
is that,
Yeah.
okay, or just
Yeah.
right before? That would work for us. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And the other thing I'll say is, don't worry, since this is supposed to be stress reducing, but we have like 18 minutes or something about, I think it'll go pretty fast. Yeah, once we start going. So that's my other recommendation from the outset, is the primary focus. If there's anything that we're focusing on, it's on relaxing, because from my understanding, relaxation is a learned skill. And I came up with this distinction, I'm sure it exists somewhere, between conscious relaxation and unconscious relaxation. And you'll probably understand it as soon as I say it, but like, let's say you're stressed out, so you sit in front of the TV and you binge watch shows on Netflix for like 6 hours. I would call that unconscious relaxation. We need it sometimes, but it's not like you're doing any training of your mind to learn how to relax. You're just zoning out. And that sometimes is just what you need. So this isn't like a judgment of that. But what I've started to reflect on is that learning to relax and reduce stress can also be a skill that you can draw on when you need it. Like let's say turning on a show isn't really a skill. It's just, yeah, here someone says in the chat, disconnecting and distracting. Sometimes you just need to space out, that's fine. But it doesn't, there's no skill being developed that you can draw on, say, when you get in a stressful situation and you need some technique. You can't turn on the TV in that moment. So my thought was, can we learn the skills of, on the other side would be like, we would call it conscious relaxation. Can I access some kind of a skillful technique when I need it? Wherever it may be. Maybe you're in kind of a heated situation with someone who pushes your buttons. Do I have any like emotional, relaxation, regulation techniques that I can use right then that'll help me diffuse some of the stress? That would be very valuable, I think. So that's just how I kind of classified the two in my own sort of scheme of classifying these. So I put meditation into that second one of conscious relaxation. So you kind of learn it out of the heat of battle. And then when you get in there, hopefully you can draw on it. You get in a difficult situation or a test, some evil teacher gives you a pop quiz, and the stress response comes up, your breath gets shallow, your shoulders get tight, your mind starts to race. And then the question is, do I have some kind of technique that I could apply in that moment? So that's what we'll look at a little bit today. It's a simple technique. I have a bell right here. So I'll ring the bell to start us off, and then we'll just do the guided meditation, and feel free to just enjoy and follow along. As far as the very first kind of instruction is just to sit comfortably, whatever's comfortable for you, in a way that kind of keeps you awake. If you've ever seen people in, like, you're in the grocery store and you see a cover of a magazine about meditation, and it has a picture of a person sitting in the posture of meditation, they look kind of spiritual, and they have this nice pose. The purpose of that is just to sit in a way where you feel relaxed and balanced. So there's a formal posture of meditation, and I like it because I'm used to it. But the point of it is that it allows your body to kind of relax and be awake and aware. So if you can find a way to be relaxed and sitting comfortably, if you're in a chair, you're welcome to have the support of the back of the chair. If you like, you could try sitting a little more upright without that support and just balancing your spine. Whatever is comfortable for you, so that your body isn't too much of a consideration other than just the balanced posture of it. So I'll ring the bell here, and then we'll go into the guided meditation. So as the sound of the bell fades away and we're no longer able to hear it, we could feel like that sound is kind of signaling that we're entering into this period of time. It's like a marker where we're just going to focus on, I guess we could call it self-care, really. Just a time of caring for oneself and relaxing. So we certainly want to not induce any like feelings of stress, but okay, what is this time? I'm just consciously gonna make some time for myself to relax, let go, relieve some stress. It's like consciously setting aside a specific period of time. So if you like, you could close your eyes if that's comfortable. If you at all feel sleepy, you can partially open your eyes, and by letting the light in, it'll help you to stay awake a little bit. If you feel especially sleepy, you can open your eyes even more and look more out toward what would be the horizon. So as you raise your gaze and open your eyes, that can help you to stay awake. Sometimes people feel sleepy if they're sitting still for a while. And as I said, the first and most important step is feeling relaxed. So just keeping that in mind, this is relaxation. And next, then we can begin to sense the body. And when I say sense the body here, it's just noticing sensation in a very simple way. So you could, for instance, notice different temperatures. Maybe your face is a little bit cooler, whereas your body's a little bit warmer because you have clothing. Basic awareness of sensation. And you could also notice different textures and different pressures. Maybe if your legs are crossed, you can feel there's a certain kind of pressure where they touch, or if your feet are against the floor. And again, clothing has different textures. Maybe you could notice that. Maybe something is smooth, something slightly rougher. This is just basic body awareness and sensory awareness. And to enhance that, you can start to be aware of your breath. And again, that's something very simple. Just noticing that you're breathing. Just the physical experience of breathing. The breath comes in, your body fills, you exhale, the body kind of collapses a little bit. And feel free to breathe normally. There's no need to alter or modify your breathing. And as you notice your breathing, you can ask this question, how does the breathing feel? In other words, does it feel good? Does it feel like it's full and deep and refreshing? Or is your breath at all shallow or constricted? And as you notice that, then on your own, you could make some kind of adjustment if you like. So maybe you do notice that, let's say your breath is up in the chest and sort of shallow. This is referred to as chest breathing, and often happens when we're stressed out, that we don't take a full breath and we breathe kind of shallowly in the chest. So if you notice that, maybe you can just start to gradually let the breath expand and deepen so that it moves downward a little bit, a little more feeling in the belly. And this is referred to as belly breathing or diaphragm breathing, where you actually consciously let your belly rise and fall as you breathe in and breathe out. And this has an effect of soothing the nervous system. If you just gradually let yourself work into it. And if you've never done any meditation at all in your life, or this is something new to you, what you might be noticing, and maybe you noticed it from the start, is that we all have a lot of thoughts. Everyone says this across the board, that you'll notice that there's all the things you're thinking about. You know, oh, I'm supposed to be sitting here breathing and relaxing, and then all these thoughts come. I remember the thing I forgot to do, or something that I was worried about. And that's 100% normal because we're thinking all the time. The first thing to say about that is that's fine. That's how it is. It's meditation includes that, is that we think. That's how our brains work. So there's no need to add an extra criticism, say, or, oh, I shouldn't be thinking, or trying to stop it. Just leave it there. Just let it be there. And just when, let's say, you get caught up and you're following one thought or one idea or something that's going on, or a memory, and when you notice yourself there, you can just shift your focus. Just come back to the breath and the feeling in the body of breathing. And see if you can more and more absorb your attention in the breath as a feeling and as a movement, as a physical process. Maybe you could focus on, say, that if your belly rises, you know, it kind of brushes against your clothing as you breathe in and then draws away as you breathe out. Just having a simple sensation to stay focused on. And even though, of course, we have all these thoughts that sometimes are slower, sometimes are faster, they have different qualities. Some thoughts are interesting, some are boring, some are annoying. Even though we have all these thoughts, there's also some quiet space. And see if you could just bring that more into the field of your focus. That, yeah, the thoughts are there and the worries are there, but there's also some quiet and some space, and maybe I could turn my attention to that a little bit. And still noticing the breath flowing in and flowing out. And as a way to further relieve some of the stress that's natural and that comes, as you breathe in, feel like you're filling up. And as we breathe in, there's a little feeling of tightening, the body expands, and there's a little holding maybe. And then as you exhale, feel like you're really letting go, almost like, that sigh of relief feeling where you just let it all out. So you could start to associate the breath with that filling. There's a little tightness. And then the exhale is letting go, letting it flow out. And there's a stress flowing out and sort of melting away as you exhale. And since we hold a lot of tension in our muscles, of course, maybe you could feel the muscles a little bit. You breathe in, everything gets a little bit tight and full. And then you exhale and the muscles relax and you let it all out. And just repeating that on your own for a handful of breaths. Doesn't really matter how many. Just breathing in full and exhaling, letting it go. Now checking in with your own body and your own thoughts and mind and emotions to see how things are developing. Are you finding more relaxation? Or things loosening up a bit? And now as a further little development or enhancement to this, you could think of a quality that you would like to develop in this day or focus on, a positive quality. For instance, maybe it's peacefulness, or maybe it's relaxation. Maybe it's enthusiasm. There might be some feeling that would really guide you through this day that would feel good. And there's probably a word that describes it, a simple word. So just let that come to mind as you're breathing in and breathing out, because the word kind of has an association with a certain quality and feeling. And we could be surprised to find that we can generate that feeling that the word brings up just by thinking of it. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just kind of hold that feeling and that word in your mind for a minute. and almost like you're letting it wash over or permeate your whole body and mind with that feeling. Taking a few more breaths and letting yourself know that we're coming to the close of our meditation, and the sound of the bell will come in just a moment. Wonderful. So that's a little taste of one style of meditation with a few techniques: body awareness, relaxed body awareness, breath awareness, and then utilizing the mind's power to focus, bring some kind of image or energy into mind, and the ways that using those kind of three simple techniques can be very helpful to immediately reduce some stress. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks everyone for being here, and thanks for having me. Thank you, Gail. Yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm always glad to do it, and always curious to see how things help and benefit people. So you can certainly connect with me if you want via Gail. She has my email. I offer 3 times a week a half an hour guided meditation, and everyone's always welcome to participate. And if you want, just talk to Gail and she can forward you the email address and I can add you to the Zoom link. But or if you have questions or thoughts about meditation in general, it's one of my favorite topics. I'm always happy to talk about it with people. Yeah, so thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
Cool. Yeah, and I'm around Cabrillo. I work in the hub virtually right now, and I'm also a student. I'm taking prerequisites for the nursing program, for a nursing program. So feel free to come find me and say hi if you're ever around. Yeah.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks so
bye-bye.
much. Be well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oscar, did you have a comment or a question?
No, I was just saying thank
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, if you have any thoughts or, for a moment here before I go to my own class, I'm certainly happy to hear if you have any questions or ideas or anything about your experience you want to mention.
It definitely helped me to hit the reset button, so to speak.
Yeah, we could probably hit the reset button about 100 times a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Okay. Well, wonderful. I'll sign off now.
Okay, have a good class.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
Jordan.
So just to, I think I'm gonna put us on, I don't think I'm gonna put my share screen back on right now, but if people want to, you can have your pictures on, you can have your names on, you could also show us your real selves, whatever works. And maybe just a little bit of feedback about what that was like for you, if you've experienced meditation before, what kinds. For some people, this is just, oh yeah, that's really good. For some people, it's very hard, but when they think about it, they do something else that gives them that quality. So I was just curious, for you all, is there anything else about either this form of meditation or other kinds of bringing sort of a grounded, peaceful clarity? What do you guys think?
I've done there's some YouTubes with this guy from Headspace. I forget his name,
Yeah.
but There's two of them. There's one that's like a 10-minute guided meditation. And there's another one, which is essentially the same thing, but he does it from Yosemite. So
Oh,
if you've got that visual beauty to go with the meditation, and they're both really powerful and good. But I haven't done it in way too long. It's been months,
mhm.
and it kind of felt good to reconnect with that process because I find it very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. So, I keep coming back to what we know about neuroplasticity. This is another way of using all of our senses and retraining our body to relax. Like he said, that's kind of a skill that we can actually learn, and it has to do with neuroplasticity. And when you're taking something in with a lot of your senses, picturing Yosemite and hearing the person's voice and relaxing your body, think about all the different ways you're bringing that in and how that can set up a pattern that can be so powerful. I think that's part of why a form of meditation, whatever it is, and there's, I think that running is, I am not a runner, but I know runners, and I think that running is meditation in action. So I think there's a lot of different ways we do that. Thanks, Dan. Who else has something that they do that kind of reminds them of this, or something they might want to do? So I'm going to read from Summer. The process of feeling and communicating with my body is very powerful. Yeah, Summer, that's so true, that it's like we're busy doing, but when we allow ourselves the space to just be, we're learning something really different from our body. And oftentimes it can be an answer, can be a solution to a problem, or a way to deal with something that we're not sure how to deal with, or a sense of clarity that comes when we just can be really quiet and reflective. So thank you. Who else?
Can I say something?
Yes, thank you.
Working IT sometimes is very stressful, especially if you want to work in project, when you have projects of, to develop, to install, or to create a plan.
Yeah.
I don't do meditation, but I do some kind of. Many times in this work, you don't feel tired for the body for what you do. But somebody told me, you don't do physical work, but thinking drains your energy. Probably same word that working physically.
Yes.
And when your body's tired, just lay down in a sofa, couch somewhere. When you are tired, for the mind, is what I usually do. I just close my mind. It's kind of meditation, I think. And just try to think in a beach with white sands, a palm, and just the ocean's wind just blowing slowly. But just in case this can help someone,
Absolutely. It's so true. And I think what you said about like the kind of work that you're all doing and learning, that's intense brain work. That is exhausting. And even though you may not feel it in your legs or your arms as if you were lifting or reaching up, you do feel it in your body. And you also need a way to release the tension of what you're holding onto in your big brains. That's so, I thank you so much for sharing that. That's so true. Who else? Did somebody hate it? You can be honest. I hate, I think it's not unusual. I know I have lots of friends. I have other students who go, oh, when Gail has us do that, that is so hard to have to sit in one place and all these thoughts come, but I know I'm not supposed to think them. And I can't sit for that long. I want to get up and move around, or it's hard. Did anybody have it like it was stressful, even though he told us we couldn't be stressed, we weren't allowed to? It was really stressful. Did anybody feel that way?
I was stressing about concentrating to keep trying to stay cool. Like,
Yeah, I know. As soon as somebody says, oh, now we're going to meditate, it's like, oh no, I won't do it right. So definitely Melissa. And he's so great because I sometimes I'm going to put on Canvas his information so you guys can either email him or you can go on his mailing list. And what he does on his mailing list, he'll send you weekly announcements about his meetings, and some of them are in person, although since COVID he does most of them on Zoom. And it's like I'll often pop in to a half hour or an hour meditation meeting with him and just come out like almost like glowing, like, oh, I walked in like with my body all knotted in crazy patterns and stuff, but just his voice and because he reminds us, no, like there's no wrong way to do it. Everything is okay. But other meditations that I've done, I have felt very stressed out that I was doing them wrong. But I think with someone like Jordan, that however you're showing up, you're doing it right. And in fact, if you allowed yourself something like this consistently over time, we are learning that relaxation skill, which sounds so silly. Like, why do we have to learn to relax? But I think in our reality, it's something we really have to learn. We do have to learn. Although I'm not adverse to binging on Netflix, I find this gives me a different quality of rest and relaxation. So yeah, thank you, Melissa. Anybody else?
Yeah, it was really hard for me to stay focused on it when he said like clear your mind, feel your breathing, and I'm like, I have to do laundry right now. Oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then he's like, feel the textures of your clothing. I'm like, all I can feel right now, it's like I'm getting like like this sensation of I cannot do this right now. I can't focus on it. It
Yeah.
was really weird, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, and so true, Noelle. Like that absolutely is another perfect response. And I'm sure you're not alone. So one of the things John commented on in the chat is there's also walking meditation. There's all kinds of meditation, right? So think about like if you could take a walk, but instead of like having a goal of like, oh, I'm going to walk, I have to walk this far. You were really focused on your body in the process of walking, like noticing as much as you could how your body felt, how you were moving your feet. And then thoughts would come and you would just kind of go back, just like he encouraged us to do, to our breath or some aspect of moving our body.